Morning everyone, in from DIY Home Gardening, 9th of May, and seed sowing this morning, pumpkins. I am about a month later than normal because I was a little bit undecided as to whether to go for it or not, and I think I'm just going to go for it. So if I turn the camera around, we'll have a look. So this morning I've already done Big Macs, and these essentially are Deals Atlantic. So these two are seed that I've been saving the last couple of years. So originally, yeah, it was straight Deals Atlantic, and then we had good results and retained the seed from that. Same with the Big Macs, and then I've added in Zombie, which is sort of a warty pumpkin, and some Mammoth Gold. So really these ones, well, probably these as well, be growing to sell through the garden centre. And then I've got these, which I think these have come from Bertha. I'd need to check, from Ben White. So these are giants, and going to start those into the pot. So these, first attempting to go in for, well, proper into the way of giants. So they are massive big seeds. So what you need to do, you need to just snip off a little bit to the base, a little bit to the very tip, just to allow for the casing to come open easier. And Ben also said to me just to give the edges a bit of a sand, which again is just going to allow the casing to open easier, because otherwise they invariably don't open and get stuck. So I don't know if you can see that there. We're just taking off the outer bit to show the seed colour, if you like, or the pithy bit. This might be Greta, actually, thinking about it. And this was a particularly big pumpkin a couple of years back. I forget how many 100 kilos it was. It's about 500 kilos, I think. So anyway, he gave me some seeds to try. I'm not saying I'm going to be able to get a pumpkin as big as his, but give it a go. And my reluctance for doing pumpkins this year is basically because on my allotment plan I've already filled it. So my option is, or was, either don't grow any pumpkins or take on another plot. And so I'm thinking I'm going to pay the money to take on another plot. So that's those planted there. Let me just write the label. I'll call it Ben. Ben's pumpkin. And I think it's Greta, so we'll put that with a question mark. So we've got those now. Because pumpkins are big old chunky seeds, need to cover them over with additional compost to exclude the light from them. Get a big old dollop over that, break it up as we go on the rest. And if the compost is dry, you'll need to water it. This is nice and moist, so it'll be alright. Give it a light firm. Make sure you're cutting out the light, but also ensuring good contact with the seed. And that is seed sowing done. and they're now going into the heated propagator. Made a bit of space, so they're going into there, and be back once they've germinated. Fingers crossed. Look at those. So 7 days on from seed sowing. These are the pumpkins already. So Big Mac's there, Dill's Atlantic. Got the 2 Gloria there, not Greta as I said previously, but Gloria. Got the ones down here. Now they're zombie, and strangely enough, or annoyingly enough, the Mammoth Gold, none of them have germinated as yet. I've had a quick check and the seeds are still intact, but not germinating. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll pull these off out of the heated propagator, and then I'll do another sowing just of the Mammoth Gold and put them in the propagator just to get them going. But that's the update already, and so you can see how much root is developing. Won't be long at this rate before they need potting up. 22nd of June, much delayed, but now I'm going to plant out the pumpkins. So much delayed because the weather's been so rubbish. Wouldn't believe that only about an hour ago it was still cloudy and overcast, but it's just been so wet that essentially the crop that was in here, which was the onions, just weren't doing anything. I lifted them and they were still pretty rubbish, but it is what it is. So given the bed a dig over, don't tend to dig this time of year, but it just got so compacted down. You can see where the Welsh onions are. You know, it is just pretty compacted, and I think that is probably down to the sheer amount of rain that we've had from autumn through to now. So anyway, going to be planting out the pumpkins. I've got 5 varieties in total, but I wanted to try and get 4 of them in here, and to be honest, I didn't really want to sacrifice too many plants, which I know is silly and goes against everything that I normally do. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice the spacing, and then I'm going to plant out 4 of each variety into this bed, and then the remaining couple will go into where the potatoes are coming out of. So yeah, I'm going to plant them out at 60 centimetre spacing, so about half the distance I would plant normally. But what I'm thinking is that as the plants grow, this side is going to be facing this away, that side that away. They go out and I'll train them down the pathways, and then they can just grow and fruit, with hopefully the fruits sitting on the deck down here. With the plan being, theoretical plan, that then I can then walk down the middle and water. Whether that works, no idea, but it seems good in my mind. So first lot is the ones harvested by my oldest son. So these essentially originally started as Dill's Atlantic. So we've got 4 of those going in. Then there's some zombie, which is a new one on me, but it has pitted skins, so it looks very much like supposedly looks like a zombie type complexion. Then there's Big Mac's over there, which again seed harvested by my youngest son. And then here I've got some Mammoth Gold, which again not grown before, but I think the name is a bit misleading because they're not that mammoth, but they tend to be sort of a supermarket type size. So I'm hoping that I can just get a decent amount of pumpkins forming out of this lot, really 1 for each of my boys, and then the rest to take to the garden centre for customers to purchase from there. So as I say, 60 centimetre spacing, and let's go. Okay then, so starting with the Dill's Atlantic. So got my tape measure as always, 60 centimetres in, dig a hole, And the beauty of them, or planting the pumpkins here, which has had the onions, is that the onions don't really use the same nutrients in the ground that the pumpkins would, and what it does is it enables me to get some good amount of manure in there in the autumn time, knowing that the pumpkins are not going to be starving it now. So as you can see, these are well rooted. I start the seeds off, as you've seen, in the cell trays and then gradually potted. So I'll lower this, well actually I'll dig it a little bit deeper. Lower this into the hole carefully, so it's going to be deeper than existing soil. Now, as you can see, it's good old Essex clay round here. Take the obvious big stones out, part fill that hole with some of the soil, and I'm just going to put a good handful of, maybe a bit more, 2 handfuls, let's go 1.5 handfuls of compost around, and then just put a bit more soil on. So by covering more of this stem, it's just going to enable the plant to root into something. So much like you see on your tomato plants, when you plant them a little bit deeper, then they will root further up the stem or neck and provide you with a better plant. So that's the first one done. Let's just carry on. See you a bit later. There you have it. So all the pumpkins planted out. Did a additional couple of layers of, or handfuls of compost around the neck of the plants, and that just leaves me with the excess plants to, well, plants will go in the compost heap. The compost I'm just going to scatter over here and then give this a really good soak, and that's planting done. See you when we get some crops. Okay, 7:45 Sunday morning. Just finishing up at the allotment before I go to work. Thought I'd do you the update on the pumpkins. Just give them a bit of a drink. So 5 weeks on from planting, and you can see there is a bit of a carpet of foliage. The problem has been that with the weather we've been having, there's been absolutely stack loads of male flowers producing, so long stems, just a flower on the top, and very little of the female flowers forming, which is that one there, whereas the fruit sitting just behind it. Now that means that, well, we've got loads of pollen available, but not a lot to be pollinated from it. So the pumpkins so far are fairly few in number, which so far disappointing. So there's some reasonable sizing coming on, but yeah, as you can see, not a lot. That's the biggest so far, which hand size, cantaloupe size, no, bigger than cantaloupe, but anyway, small watermelon, cantaloupe size, that's the biggest so far. And on the 2 giants, as you can see, male flowers, male flowers, male flower, first female flower. Don't know if it's been pollinated, doesn't look like it judging by the colour of the fruit behind it. We shall see. And that is it. So we got so far all of this foliage and nothing to show for it. Could change. hope it'll change, but we are approaching final week of July, so it's got to change pretty sharpish. Forecast is for 3 days of sun, so let's hope that that brings out some female flowers and some pollinating insects. Fingers crossed. So seven more days on, very start of August. Pumpkins have gone into overdrive foliage wise. Normal pumpkins are doing well. Got some zombie pumpkins coming there. Had a bit of a thin out, rearrange of stems, so to speak, to stop all the pumpkins crushing one another. You can see there's plenty coming, doing their thing. Let's try and carefully step over that. So this bed here really is pumpkins that I'm growing just to let my boys have or to sell on. This bed here was meant for growing a giant pumpkin. At the moment, that's what there is. So I'm not holding my breath, to be honest. I'm going to get anything decent. 15th of August, thought it was about time for a bit of an update. Giant pumpkin, or hopefully intended giant pumpkin, normal pumpkins, and a bit of a tour for you. So I'll be honest, without being able to trace the vines back, I'm not quite sure which is which, because it's definitely not gone exactly to plan, in as much as I had it planned that I'd be able to walk through the middle for doing my watering. The reality is there is no middle, there's barely any sides. So I'm having to water a bit down this side over the bed and then make my way round there to then get the back side. But there are pumpkins forming. I know that's the zombie pumpkin. One of those accidentally broke off the other day. I caught it with a hose pipe. So we've got one sitting there, so obviously that's not growing anymore. In terms of the others, got quite a few. Got tiptoeing through there. So there's quite a few coming there. Honestly, I thought there would be more of the zombie type form than have been, but it's the way it goes sometimes. So some there, and there's another one just down there as well. And then these are the vines for the giants. Now the intention always was to keep the strongest vine and cut off the other pumpkin and just have the one plant. But in all honesty, the way the season's been, they didn't produce female fruit when I wanted them to, just male flowers, and so I know it's not going to get up to a decent size. So I thought I'd just keep them on, so I'll keep both of them. So I've got one there coming, which I can't see it's going to get particularly big. I have buried a couple of places, and then there was also a twin one on the other vine produced at exactly the same point, so I cut that off, hoping, really, I don't know why, but hoping that would get so massive that it'd swamp the other one, but I know it's not going to. And then I've got one forming there, which that's it on all of that mass. So that's where we're at the moment. Hopefully we get some more form and some good growth. Okay, 23rd of August. When the weather's right, things get growing. Unfortunately, it's probably a bit late in the season for things to now be moving, but that is the giant there, so it's looking pretty good. So unfortunately it's just come probably too late in the season to get this temperature that we want, and there's all the other ones. So yeah, I mean, I'm pleased that it's doing something, but yeah, after a bit of neglect, I've not put up any cover to stop it getting ripened. I've not put down the amount of feed because I've sort of given up really. But yeah, we'll see what it comes in at the end. Okay, 1st of September. It's getting to that point where we're running out of time to get any more growth really on a lot of these pumpkins. It's all about now developing what we have got. So yeah, came up last night, continued thinning out the vines. So yeah, just done that a couple of nights in a row, just thinning them out. So removing the side branches of the vines. You can see now that powdery mildew is starting to set in, which really is an indication that we're not far from autumn really, where the moisture's sitting on that leaf and just getting the fungal spores in there. So yeah, removing the side vines, removing or cutting back the vines to, I tend to do it a junction, one leaf joint, whatever you want to call it. So that's a leaf joint. So cutting back to just one leaf joint beyond where the fruit's forming. And it's all about trying to get more sunlight exposure to these fruits to ensure that they fully ripen and harden. So I got some zombie in there. That one probably going to get to some sort of size. So yeah, as you can see, they're very much more visible than they have been. Let me step over. Oh. And then over here we've got the giants. So we've got that one there. That's probably about 2 foot in length. And then try not to destroy all the leaves. The main one under here, which, you know, put the cover over to try and stop the light getting to it, or the heat. There we are. So that's the other one down there. So it's got some decent size to it. Don't know how heavy it's going to end up, but not as heavy as I would have hoped. But as I keep reiterating, it's just the way that the season started this year. Just didn't get them female flowers forming. Plenty of the males, but not the females were forming. Just spotted that. So yeah, some little fruit started trying to develop there, but that's just killed over again. That's just down to temperature fluctuations. So yeah, at the moment, so we'll keep on trying to get some size on the bigger ones just through the consistent watering. These ones, it's all about just letting them get that exposure and ripen. So yeah, that's where we're at. 24th September update. All the pumpkins are cleared from the bed and they are now back home, so I'll show you those when I get back home. And then update on the giants. So you can see that the plants are dying back now. Powdery mildew, which is this white, has taken hold over a lot of the plant. And we've got that pumpkin in there, which is pretty massive. And the one that is under here. So this is the bigger pumpkin, which is under there. So you can see it's still not got its fully mature colour. Skin's still soft. Doesn't sound hollow as yet, so it's not ripe enough to get out of there. So hopefully it will continue to ripen up. Going to take this cover off just to get some more light to it, to hopefully harden the skin up. Right, okay, so that's the covers off. that's the pumpkins. So obviously this one is the biggest one, pretty sizable. Happy with how it's gone in the end from lack of growth early on. Right, so I'm back home, back in the garage. Mixture of squash, pumpkins. So those are some Dills Atlantic. These are Mammoth Gold. And those, something a little bit special that I've done myself really. So they are a cross between a Big Mac's pumpkin, which is similar sort of sizing to these, and a cross with the Turk's Turban. So Turk's Turban, let's try and show you, has that pronounced centre to it. It's got to be one that's got a bit more showing. So that's the noticeable or distinctive centre. And let's try and get one of these over. And that one now is the pronounced centre to it. So you can see the coloration, it's just not as pronounced on that one. So yeah, it's the cross, but noticeable difference in the sizing. So that's what also was growing on the pumpkin bed. And then that lot there, they're all the zombie pumpkins, which just a little bit of fun to take to the garden centre. So that is it. That's yeah, that's the pumpkins for this year, plus what we've seen, the massive ones at the allotment. Video done. If you've got any questions, then please send them over to me. I'll do my very best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so don't miss out on the future videos. And I always say it, but it's so true, just enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and perhaps try something different. And you know, that could well be a different pumpkin variety, or indeed growing pumpkins for the first time. So till next time, bye for now.